Hey, Gary here with Publisher Report. I got to thinking, Amazon KDP versus Etsy, or Etsy versus Amazon KDP. I got to looking at some books. These are scissor skill books, two different types, or two copies of basically what are the same thing. When you look inside, they're images that you cut out. Well, not you, that in this case, kids cut out. And you sell these books on Amazon KDP. So I wanted to think, could I sell these same things, or the interiors, which is just the individual pages, or the PDF that I create with a simple tool? Could I just sell those on Etsy? And what would be the difference? What would it look like? And also, how much would it cost versus how much would I actually make? So over to Amazon we go, and we see here Scissor Skills Activity Books. We just scroll through and we look at the books. They look just like the books that I just showed you. Actually, this is the book here that I actually showed you, and it's $5.99. Pop over to Etsy, Scissor Skills. You're looking at the same kind of thing. Again, these are pages that you sell. These are PDFs, and then they would print them out. And look at some of the price points here. $3.59, $4, $5.13, $4.95. Really, it goes in that same range, or the idea or the thinking. Back over in Amazon, that book we looked at here, $5.99, with ranges from $7.99 to $6.99, and the list goes on and on when you're taking a look at these results. Let's take a look at another book, Puzzle Pages for Kids. Here we have activity books. Of course, this is September 2022. So Thanksgiving and Halloween are sponsored here. But then we have a simple word search for kids, ages 6 to 8. It's priced at $6.99, so $5.99, $6.99, right in that same range. So how much do we make over at Amazon? Pop over to Amazon and take a look at the KDP Publishing Printing Cost and Royalty Calculator. A paperback book, black and white interior with white paper, 100 pages, selling on the Amazon Marketplace for $5.99. That gives us a minimum list price of $3.58. But we're listing it at $5.99, so that means our printing costs are $2.15 with an estimated royalty of $1.44. Of course, that's all free over at Amazon. When we look at Etsy, we need to understand the basic fees. We have a listing fee, we have a transaction fee, we have a payment processing fee. So I found an Etsy fee calculator. If we pop in the price, selling price $5.99 with a cost here, you had to put in a cost. I put in a penny. And you see here the listing fee, the transaction fee, the processing fee, as well as the profit. So $4.96 of profit if you listed your pages on Etsy versus the estimated royalty of $1.44 if you sold an actual physical book. And back to the book versus selling on Etsy. When you create the book, you have to create the entire manuscript. So however many pages that book is, you have to create all those pages, and then that book is sold or printed when it's bought off of Amazon. So then on Amazon, you have to rank, and you have to have a book, and you have to upload all that, and you also have to create a cover, both the front and the back. So then you have to think about the design of the cover. Versus if we go over to Etsy and we take a look at Scissor Skills, here we're just creating digital assets or digital mock-ups of the digital assets we're selling, versus creating a book that is going to be printed. So I think it takes a lot of the complexity out of designing a complete or an entire book and thinking about what is the book going to look like when it's printed. Because of course we know that printing codes, when we talk about the different types of codes, the color codes, when we actually make a digital asset or we make the digital cover versus what it actually looks like when it gets printed, those are all issues that you run into, specifically with certain types of colors that look digital on a computer screen or look different on a digital computer screen versus what it actually looks like when you print it out. And you can be a little disappointed, and sometimes the people that buy them can be a little disappointed and they leave a negative review. Again, versus what we see over at Etsy, which is just all digital assets you create and upload to Etsy. So let's take a look at a simple tool over at Puzzle Publishers. There's a link in the description. You could check this out. If we were making a simple cutout, we'd just pop into Simply Cutout Crazy Pro, load an image, upload that image. That image would come in here. You can set your cutout. You can use a solid line or change it to a dotted line or change it to a dashed line and simply refresh that. You can make it easy or easier to cut around with more space, or you could take the padding completely out and make it so that you're cutting out the character. but my preference is to put it right about there, and then you have something you can cut out. Also, inside of Simply Cutout Crazy Pro, you can get rid of the image, and you could create a cut and paste book with a simple click of a button. Of course, using Puzzle Publishers and Simply Cutout Crazy Pro, you could definitely create the interior of the book that you see here in this example. But again, you're stuck creating the entire interior versus a few pages or a set number of pages, or even customizing those pages that you would be able to sell on Etsy, as well as creating the cover of the book versus just the digital images or the digital assets that you would then post on Etsy, and then the person that buys them would download them, print them out, and of course the Etsy fees versus again what you make out of a royalty for the actual printing cost, or with the printing cost of the book, and what Amazon gives you to actually let you sell the book on their platform. Of course, you don't have to pay Amazon KDP to sell on their platform, but I thought that this video would just give you some food for thought when you're thinking about Amazon versus Etsy, KDP or Etsy. I don't think it's one or the other, but I think that it is some thought here. When you actually start to create the interiors, you could easily or more simply post them on Etsy. It's going to cost because you're going to have to pay a listing fee and the processing fee and all the other Etsy fees, but you don't have to go through all the process of creating an entire interior and uploading it to Amazon KDP and being frustrated with the print previewer, and you also don't have to worry about creating the cover for your book. All in all, I don't think it's KDP or Etsy. I think it's KDP versus Etsy, and I think that if you're going to be creating these types of books, specifically these types of interiors with a simple tool like I showed you at Puzzle Publishers, I would think about starting with Etsy or even my own store to get a feel for if this is something that I really want to do or not as a self-publisher, and then move into the world of creating books when I have a little better feel for what it is I'm actually producing on the interior of the book, and then be ready to move on to tackle the cover. So go ahead and let me know what you think about this. KDP versus Etsy, or KDP or Etsy. Go ahead and let me know in the comments if this video helped. Give it a thumbs up, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.